tip might be a little bit controversial because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where they have this title. But my advice is, hello, my name is Grace and I have an Etsy shop. I've had an Etsy shop for 2 weeks now, and I took 4 months to prep my shop. And this is the honest advice that I want to give anyone who is wanting to start their small business, because I got a lot to say. So let's get into it. I've got my notes. So the first thing is to do it scared. Just do it, okay? Because you're going to want to do a lot of research. Trust me, I had pages and pages of research, but that means nada unless you actually start. Because it's one thing reading about it, writing notes about it, but you don't get into all the nitty-gritty issues and problems, and a lot of things that you're going to encounter are going to be maybe personal things that are relating to your schedule that other people might not have, in terms of printing, when are you going to upload, when are you going to post, like technical difficulties that are unique to you. So the best thing is to just start and figure out what those problems are. Embrace the struggles, take a deep breath, come back to it, figure out a solution. And don't be worried about failing. This is all part of the process. When you are watching other people's YouTube videos, for me, as a new small business person, I prefer watching YouTube videos of people who have just started their YouTube channels, give or take 1 to 2 years into their business. Because I'm not gonna lie, the ones that are like 3, 5, 10 years into the game, they're not gonna struggle as much as we are. And I'm not gonna lie, watching them, sometimes I don't feel so good, because I'm like, man, they've got like 100, 200 listings, they are getting so many orders. And when you are just starting, you want to have that kind of encouragement that yes, your struggle is real. Yes, it's not only you. It's just because you are starting, everything is new. But if you don't try, you won't know. Fail, learn, grow from it. You'll get there. Right, this tip might be a little bit controversial because I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where they have this title. But my advice is, don't quit your full-time job. Okay, so the reason why I say this is because your small business is one part of your life, and it is very, very unpredictable whether you are going to succeed or not. And it's a marathon, not a sprint. I've seen so many videos where people have got 1 year of saving, 2 years of savings, whatever it may be, and they completely quit their full-time job to pursue having a small business full-time. Now, if you are thinking of starting your small business, I don't suggest that you do that right away. A lot of the time, some people, they might have established their business, they've done it a few years, and therefore they might have more of a means or understanding of whether this is a viable option for you. But if you're just starting out, like for me, I 100% treat this as a hobby, which is maybe perhaps a little bit controversial to say, because a lot of people want to start a small business with the idea that they want to make this full time. And I think it's a little bit of a struggle, a bit problematic when you do this, because I know that when you are having the mindset of, I want this to be full time, I want this to really work, you put an enormous amount of pressure on yourself. Even me treating this as a hobby, I'm putting an enormous amount of pressure on myself. And when you do that, you rush into things, you make more mistakes, and you will burn out very quickly. So I suggest that you don't take away everything that your life was before you started your business. Your small business is one part of your whole being. You are also, you're also a daughter, a son, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. You are an employee to someone else. And honestly speaking, I love that I have a full-time job that is completely different to my small business, because number one, it takes me away from thinking my small business. I think if you're constantly thinking about your small business, especially in the beginning stages when you are starting up, it can be very overwhelming because everything is new. There is a lot of information out there, and it can just be a whole lot. So I think having some time away from your small business can be very productive. Same way, like if you're drawing for 10 hours is not as good than if you were drawing for 1 hour with half an hour interval breaks. So another reason why I won't suggest quitting your full-time job is because starting a small business, you need money. Granted, there are ways you can go about it where you don't need a lot of money. However, you'd be surprised about how many things you end up buying, because it's not just your materials for making your products. There's also shipping, there's also packaging, there's also, you need some contingency money as well when things go wrong. So there are so many different things that you will need to finance, and honestly speaking, life happens. You have no idea what is going to happen in the, let's say, first year of your small business. And especially when you are new and you don't know how all of this works, there are going to be even more hidden payments that you will have to make. And, if there's any interruptions to, you making products, you receiving products from manufacturers, or even you receiving money from Etsy, there can be a whole lot of different issues. So I think the first thing is to start out, see how it goes, see if this is something that you can build. And once you've gotten to a stage where you are making the same amount of money that you could from, let's say, you have a full-time job now. Let's say if you went part-time, would you still be able to make the same amount of money, or at least a good fraction of it? I wouldn't go straight from full-time to self-employed, because that's a drastic change. So another thing I wanted to add in terms of not quitting your full-time job is that because having a small business is so unpredictable, you also need to think about things that you want in your future. So for me, I want to be able to get married, I want to get engaged, I want to have children, I want to be able to go on holiday. And if I'm sick, I don't want to have to stress. When you are self-employed, you have to think about financing all of these situations. And any rainy day, life is going to throw so many things at you. And also, don't even get me started about the housing prices. Like, your girl needs money, okay? And when you're first starting a small business, you're not going to make a lot of money. Chances are you're not going to make a lot of money in the first 2 years of your business. And it's good to have that financial security that if you did want to go on holiday, if you are feeling sick, because we're all going to feel sick, if you want to, go and, move on with your life in the sense of doing things like marriage and house and all of these things that cost a lot of money, you need to think about whether you are able to finance these things. Because when people are quitting their job for like 1 year or X amount of years, does that really factor in the rest of your life? I'm very much a realist in that I really am thinking about the next 5-10 years. I'm not thinking solely about my business as the entirety of my life. And I don't think you should either. Especially when you are thinking about like, oh, my YouTube channel is not doing so well, my Instagram's not doing that well, my small business is not doing that well. But the thing is that you should also think about your life outside your small business. I know that Abby Nova was having a vlog where she was talking about, you feel so terrible because you feel like your small business is everything to you. And, when your small business is not doing so well, it can really have a knock-on effect on your emotions and how you view life, but it shouldn't be that case, because we can actually accomplish so much in our personal life that, also means that it will take some time away from our business, but that's okay. So don't be so hard on yourself. Acknowledge the positives and milestones in your personal life and your business, and also prepare financially for those things. Right, this one is really difficult, but don't compare yourself to other people. I know this is so much easier said than done, but you can't compare yourself, your journey, with someone else's journey. Everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has a different financial situation. Everyone has different kind of drawing skills, or different niches, or different kind of equipment. And so even though in your mind rationalizing comparison, you shouldn't do it, it's very, very difficult, because obviously, although there is like a bittersweet feeling of watching other YouTubers and thinking, oh yes, one day I want to be like that. However, I know that when I have started my small business, I am forever on this hamster wheel of wanting to get better and better and better, which you should. You should always aim to improve and upgrade your business. However, it can also turn into this thing where you are like a little bit like, oh, they are like this and I am like that. And you think, how could I ever compete? How could I ever build myself to that? I'm not like them in this way, X, Y, and Z. But I tell you now that you are at the very beginning. A lot of people actually that I've watched haven't actually shown their journey from the very, very beginning, like say me, or Abby Nova is a YouTuber that I absolutely love watching, because you watched her from starting her small business from the very, very beginning when she opened up. And I think it's so hard to kind of watch another person who is 3 years into the game and they're doing, I don't know, very regular shop launches with like 30 products or what have you. And, you're just starting out with 5 product launches, and it can be very difficult. So another advice for when you're starting your small business is start off with a product that is easy for you to make, and also one that is kind of also cheaper for your customers to buy, and also cheaper for you to produce. I am starting out with stickers for the main reason that I want to see what my audience likes and then work from that. So, stickers I'm selling for £2 each. So, I'm selling it for like an average price compared to what some people sell on Etsy. And that is easier for people to kind of, if it's a new shop, to kind of invest on something that is more affordable than say you're a new business and buying something that's £30. Is also more investment for you when you are not entirely sure whether people would buy it. So what I'm doing is that I started off with a variety of designs. From UFOs to octopuses to motivational quotes, introverted, relatable stickers, to kind of see what my audience likes. And then from growing sales, then I can see what they like and produce more of that. So I'd say start with something small and build up, and have a variety ready on your shop, because sometimes you'll never know what people will actually buy. It's not always what you think. So try, experiment. Another thing that I did was that I asked people who are not arty. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but I kind of wanted to gauge a general audience of what they would think when they first saw my shop. So when I did a few of my designs, sometimes I would just show it to someone. I wouldn't tell them what it is, or what I was trying to get at. And just based on their facial response, I was thinking, okay, whether I should put this on my shop or not, or whether it was a good idea. And I would ask people, even if they weren't buying, I would ask them which designs do they like. At this very beginning stages, getting feedback is very important. So, another thing that I struggled with when I first started my small business was aesthetic, and brand colors and all of that stuff. Um, I think when you are making your logo or you're designing your banner or you're thinking about, you know, I think there should be a certain consistency in terms of when let's, for example, my listings. Every single one of my listings have exactly the same background. And I decided on two main colors that I wanted to have within my designs or within the color scheme of my brand. And that was pink and blue. So you don't have to go crazy in terms of what exactly is my aesthetic. I would suggest that you start off with maybe two or three colors that you absolutely love and that you can include in your designs. I think that's an easy way for you to have a brand aesthetic, even though you're not 100% sure what kind of things you want to put on your shop. Because I have all sorts of different random things on my shop, but because of the cohesive color palette, it makes sense, you know? Because when you grow as a business, you're going to change things. I got so fixated on certain things, thinking this was going to be, it has to be perfect because, you know, in my mind, I was thinking it has to be perfect now because I'm not going to change it. This is as a finite thing. But it's not true. You'll evolve as a business, you will evolve as a person, as an artist, and you can always change your logo or your brand colors. I wouldn't change them drastically and too much so soon, but if you're going to do it in the beginning, figure it out now, because that's when the least amount of people know you and you are just starting out, so it makes sense to figure all that out before you are an established business. The next thing is mental health and physical health. This is a tough one because I think it's quite difficult to balance personal life, working life, and then your small business. There are so many things to juggle, but you really, really have to take breaks. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Your physical and mental well-being is more important than anything in your small business, and although it may be difficult, you are going to have to take breaks. Another thing is that, and I wish I knew this earlier, is that choose a unique brand name. Now, I thought that I was quite, clever with my brand name, which is Grace Gold Art, or my Etsy shop, Grace Gold Shop. But it turns out no, because when I had initially typed in Grace Gold, it came up with jewelry, which is not exactly what I want to be competing with. And so choose something that is quirky, quite unique, so that it's easy for people to remember. Don't have like two random words that are, hard to remember. I would say have a mixture of simple words. At least, for me, Grace Gold, both are easy words to remember. GG, alliteration. But don't do what I do and maybe do a bit more research in terms of what your brand name should be and is memorable. Right. Now, this might be a controversial advice or tip, if you can call it that, but that is, you don't want to go viral. When you're in the beginning of your business, trust me, don't get disappointed when that YouTube video or that reel or you don't get hundreds and hundreds of sales in the beginning of your small business, because I tell you, you don't want it. Because I got 6 sales and I was already overwhelmed because I was thinking about the shipping and the tracking and the payment and all of these things. And especially when you're in the beginning of your small business, you are not prepared for going viral. You're not prepared for getting hundreds and hundreds of orders. And so when you're making these, for example, if you are a small business, I 100% recommend that you have you have a YouTube channel, because not only does it allow people to know who you are and know that you have a shop, it allows people to really grow a bond with you, and you also get to have a community of people that you can talk to, and people will hopefully comment and talk to you as well, and it's a beautiful thing. And honestly, I do like this. I hope that in the future I will be able to grow a small business community, because I think it's very important to have that kind of support. Thankfully, I have a lot of support in my personal circle. But another thing that I want to do is growing my small business circle of friends, because it's really difficult. It's hard out here, kind of going through all of these motions. Because even if you're talking to someone in your personal life, they're not doing what you're doing. And so the I mentioned this in my last vlog, where one of the things that I don't like is when people tell me to chill. Like, don't stress about it. It's not the end of the world. It's fine. But the thing is that when you have your own small business and you worked on this for so long, and you've had to like troubleshoot like so many different problems, tensions are high, emotions are high. And so it's really difficult for you to just chill and, see it for what it is, and not be like, oh my gosh, it's terrible, because this is your dream. And so this is something that you wake up loving to do. At least I hope you do. At least that is for me. And so it's difficult to do that, although we do need reminders to chillax, but easier said than done. Right, that concludes this video. I hope that it wasn't too chaotic. I hope that I mentioned something that was useful to you. I sometimes have these advice videos, so subscribe if you want to see more. I mainly do vlogs where I show the behind the scenes, and to be fair, within those I give nuggets of advice. And I think also seeing someone else run a small business is very useful to know what to expect when you eventually, hopefully, do it yourself, if you find that this is something for you. But trust me, it is not for the weak-hearted. You will encounter 1,000 problems, but go about it with a patient heart, and be patient with yourself. You are doing amazing. The fact that even if you had started a small business, because the fact that you even took that step is an achievement in itself, and you need to acknowledge the big and small achievements. I mentioned in my last vlog that it is very difficult to really enjoy the moment and see the achievements that you go through in this journey, because I wake up, when it's my day off, I wake up and I think about the hundreds of things that I have to do, and I make a to-do list, and I'm like, oh my gosh, will I have time? I have to also do other things like meal prepping and banking and but I wouldn't give this up for the world. I'm saying this now, but this has been such an amazing journey, and I'm really, really proud of myself that I managed to step out of my comfort zone and finally put my art out there. And at least having a shop and putting yourself out there and giving yourself that opportunity to even sell your art is amazing, and it takes a lot of courage to do it. I wish you all the best in your small business dreams, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.